to achieve this goal.
Yeah, and the future's bright for him, Greg. Not just tonight and not just this season, but for years to come.
So on the floor for Philadelphia, Joel Embiid out there with Carl Landry. Then there's Grant. Then it's Tony Wroten. And it's Sampson in at the 2 spot. He muscles it in through the contact, and they call the foul. And he's on his way to the free throw line.
Well, so far for Coach Brad Stevens, the Celtics have had nothing but praise for their outstanding young coach. No surprise for those of us who know Brad. The team is really moving ahead in the rebuilding process, and he gets a lot of the credit for that.
And part of the reason why the Celtics are ahead of schedule in their rebuild is because of Coach Brad Stevens. He has everyone on the same page.
You know what? You talk around the league about Coach Stevens, and other coaches are just astounded by his work ethic. People around the league think he's already a top coach. He could be one of the greats by the time he's done if he stays at the professional level.
The Celtics have yet to miss from the free throw line. They're 3 for 3.
And a season ago, they hit about 75% of their free throws.
That one is off.
And guys, the Spurs coaching tree extends pretty far these days. Coach Brett Brown, another former member of the Spurs staff.
And there you have it, folks. The very first NBA bucket from Freak.
And a scrappy one, but he'll take it. It doesn't matter how you get those first points in the NBA. It just matters that you get them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there will be plenty of chances to create spectacular highlights in the years to come for this young man. But right now, he just wants those first points.
Just 5 to shoot. Here's Cannon, and the shot clock expires. 24-second violation.
And a chance here to see the numbers for Smart. How he performed last season. Averaged about 8 points a game last season. 3 assists and 3 rebounds. And you look at those numbers, not bad. But, guys, I think he can do better, and he knows it.
And he has high expectations for himself as well, guys, but he just hasn't delivered fully on his potential yet.
And it's Freak missing. Well, Greg, for Brett Brown and the Spurs connection, he was an assistant in San Antonio for 7 years, was really indoctrinated in how the Spurs conducted business, Clark, before coming to the 76ers.
Yeah, he's got an interesting accent, too, a mix of Boston Australian from where he grew up and where he spent a lot of time, but no doubting his passion and his coaching ability. He's good in both.
He was actually a head coach for Australia for a while, an international player. Thomas kicks to Zeller. And he was fouled on the way up. 2 free throws now for him.
Well, guys, once again, the 76ers finished second to last in the East. Amazingly managed to win fewer games against the East than they did the year before, which was 14 wins in 2014.
That free throw missing. One thing, Greg, about Philadelphia, you talked about this. Only 12 wins for them last year against the East.
And Kevin, how about not getting a win against their own conference until December? I mean, as bad as the Sixers were last year, though, they weren't the worst. So sometimes, even for me, I still can't fathom that's the case.
Here's what Boston's going with right now. Lee comes in for Tyler Zeller. And Amir Johnson subbed in for Thomas. Johnson the screen. Smart kicks to Lee. And there's the whistle. Fouled hard on the shot. He'll go to the line. Well, David Lee with the Golden State Warriors began his career with the New York Knicks. We're talking about him and his play, and it's sometimes hard to get a good compass on what kind of player he is.
Yeah, you know, he was drafted 30th when he came out and certainly played above that draft slot. Then when he re-upped for the 6 years, $80 million, people started to wonder if he was able to play to that value.
And that one misses.
And getting back to David Lee, before the big contract, he was putting up some huge lines. I mean, he was the first Knick to go 30 and 20 in a game since the great Patrick Ewing. And he became the first NBA player to record at least 35 points, 20 rebounds, and 10 assists since Kareem back in 1976.
He hits the second from the line.
And, you know, back to David.
And so it's a close game as we wrap up the first half of basketball. 76ers lead by 1. We'll see you after halftime for the beginning of the third quarter.
All right, guys, I want to go over some things before we get back out there. These are the types of halves where we are helping ourselves out by making clean passes. They haven't caused us too many problems in the passing lanes to this point, but we still have a half of basketball to play. I will give you credit for your offensive rebounding. You really fought hard to keep possessions alive, and it's paid off. The pace of the game, just to bring that up real quick, isn't a...
Here we go now, the start of the third quarter, welcoming you back in a closely contested first half so far. Without question, Tony Wroten displaying his skills today.
You just love it when the decision-making is as good as it was there in that first half. Didn't force anything.
Guys, I think here in the second half, though, they may want him to be a little more assertive. Start hunting more for his shot, even the tough.
Here's Thompson.
And this is going to end in a lopsided victory. I love the tenacity and aggressiveness as well as the ability to close. You really got to give it up here for the Celtics.
The sheer volume of three-pointers was the deciding factor tonight, it seemed.
Yeah, they sink one, Kevin, and then they do it again. It worked.
And it'll go down as their first official win of the new year.
They can chalk this one up, but these two teams will see plenty more of one another before the season's over.
And, Greg, we know familiarity breeds contempt. I would expect things to become more heated as these teams face each other going forward.
And beyond the actual result of this game, fans are going to look back and see this was just a monstrous performance for Thomas. And the way he was able to dice up their D with his passing really made things easy for everyone else on his team.
Freak in at power forward. Evan Turner is out there with Smart. Then it's Kelly Olynyk, and it's Jerebko in at the 3 slot. That's who's in the game for the Celtics. Here's what Philadelphia's going with right now. Jeremy Grant, he's checked in for Okafor. J.K. Sampson comes in for Hollis Thompson. And it's Cannon in for Wroten. There's a screen by Noel. Embiid kicks to Grant. Embiid with the screen on Turner. There's the feed to Noel. And again, it's Philadelphia. So it's the Celtics now. 34 seconds left in the fourth. To the wing right side. Now here's Smart. Guarded closer. Down to 5 on the shot clock. There's Freak. And it's Noel with the rebound. Here's Cannon. And so it's Boston easily grabbing this one. Some good moments throughout this one, but they had the clear advantage down the stretch.
Yeah, and I thought good execution really played a big part throughout.
That concludes the first game of the NBA season. For Greg Anthony, Clark Kellogg, and Doris Burke, this is Kevin Harlan saying thank you for watching the NBA presented by 2K Sports. And Ernie Johnson is still in the building, folks, for the postgame show. Coming up next.
The 2K Sports postgame show.
Many thanks, Kevin. So now we move on to our Jordan player of the game, Isaiah Thomas. He came out of the locker room at halftime and was immediately on fire. That third quarter was his, and he did not hesitate to exert his will.
This guy is explosive as any guard in the league. He's got a craftiness to his game and a work ethic that just does not quit. Whether it's creating for teammates or putting up them buckets himself, Isaiah Thomas finds a way to get it done.
He was dead on from the field tonight, guys. I'd call his performance economical because there was no wasted opportunities. He took advantage of every good look he got. I mean, everything he put up was going in.
And that's it for our broadcast here tonight. But we're just getting started on a new season in the NBA.